Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. KABOOM! Oscar Rivas, 12th round, throwing the Hail Mary shots, knocks out Bryant Jennings in Verona, New York. And Rivas, he needed that because he must have been down on the cards. Bryant Jennings controlled the fight from about the halfway mark, and it looked like he was coasting to a decision. Rivas's coach before the 12th round, and even before that and prior in between rounds, was imploring his fighter to be more busy, to let his hands go, throw more punches. And he did. He comes out for the 12th round, just unloads everything, and he gets the stoppage. So in that 12th round, Jennings, he was dropped after the first flurry. Rivas follows up and stops him entirely. Jennings unable to defend himself, and the referee jumps in. Bryant Jennings, who had the winning of this fight, knocked out 12th round. That really was a get out of jail card for Oscar Rivas, because for all money it looked like it was going to the cards and he was going to lose the decision. This was a fight where it threatened to catch fire at times, but it just never quite happened until that final flurry from Oscar Rivas. It wasn't a great performance from Rivas, it wasn't a great performance from Jennings, but it sort of played out in a similar way to many of us were predicting. That Jennings would come out, he would use his reach, he had an 8-inch reach advantage, maintain range, that sort of, the first round he controlled the action, I gave him that round, and then Oscar Rivas, who was lethal early on, for the next few rounds, I think rounds 2 to 4, really he was controlling much of the action, good pressure, he looked calm, landing some decent body work, also getting in a few jabs, but from about round 5, round 6, Jennings started to mix it up, he started to figure Rivas out, control the distance better, and he was able to land jabs of his own and started to outwork Oscar Rivas, especially behind the jab, and Rivas's output started to fall, started to gas a little bit, was trying to conserve himself, but he just wasn't letting his hands go enough, and Jennings was winning the rounds through activity. And through rounds about 7 to 10, Jennings was having good flurries in spots and landing the more clean, effective work. Rivas was struggling. And so when it came to the 12th round, it really was up to Oscar Rivas to let it all go, and he did, and he caught Jennings and dropped him, ultimately gets the fight. So Oscar Rivas, biggest win of his career. Bryant Jennings, the unlucky loser here. So Rivas advances to 26-0. And we have to remember, Bryant Jennings was ranked across all 4 sanctioning bodies, very high in the WBO, number 2. And Rivas, he had the one ranking 10th in the IBF, I believe. So he will advance in some of the rankings off the back of this, particularly, you'd imagine, in the IBO. So for all money, Bryant Jennings, who probably would have got the decision, I haven't seen the cards yet, but I'd imagine at the time of the stoppage, he was up by, 2, 3, 4 rounds, likely to canter to an easy decision. Stopped. And so his world title dreams, for now, go up in smoke. So what next for Oscar Rivas? Well, he is clearly in line for another eliminator, potentially in the WBO. But off the back of this, now that Jennings has been beaten and potentially out of the title picture for now, you'd imagine that Dillian Whyte potentially would stand a good chance to get the WBO mandatory spot. That there has been some chatter, especially amongst fans, myself as included, that believe that if Jennings had won, that they would have tried to force a world title eliminator between Jennings and Whyte, tried to force that for the mandatory spot in the WBO, but that has gone up in smoke. It is gone. So Dillian Whyte, for all money, looks like he could potentially, depending on what the WBO does, and Eddie Hearn has been lobbying them, he could get that mandatory spot. And the WBO mandatory is the next title challenge that is going to be called for Anthony Joshua later this year. So we'll have to see where things go. But yeah, it wasn't a great performance by Rivas. His output dropped. Besides some good pressure early on, he didn't throw enough punches, there weren't enough combinations, and he was struggling to close the distance, and the inside work wasn't fantastic. He was, in general, especially in that second half of the fight, getting outworked and didn't look great. Yeah, and he was certainly tiring as the fight wore on. Not, significantly so. He was, gassing out the side of his mouth, but Jennings, was outworking him, and he wasn't having trouble doing so. So yeah, I'll leave it there, but what did you make of it all? Oscar Rivas scores the late knockout And it was a stunning one. Jennings stopped in the 12th round. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.